practice. It's a 30 marker usually. If you people see, usually there's a 30 marker risk question, right? But sometimes I think this has happened from last year, wherein the March June 25 mock also came as 30 marker internal controls question and 20 marker for risk. Similarly, idhar bhi same thing is happening, so you can also expect such thing happening in your exam also. So don't panic that why a 30 marker internal control question is there. Okay, chalo, let's start with the first question that we have. We'll not read the case study right now. It's a long, lengthy case study. We're going to focus upon the question first. If it does not require our attention towards the case study, we are not going to waste our time in reading the case study first. Okay. The first part says, explain why the auditor obtains an understanding of the internal control relevant to the audit. It's a basic, very, very basic question, knowledge based. Identify two methods an auditor could use to obtain an understanding of company's systems of internal controls. Again, a one marker. It's a very, very basic knowledge based question. Here also, if you see, you do not need to refer to the scenario to write these answers. So let me show you my answer for this one. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So auditor obtains an understanding of internal control as it assists them in identifying the types of potential misstatement, of course, because from the controls, from the deficiencies, I will be able to see what is the risk and what is the potential misstatement in the financial statements, right? And factors that affect the risk of ROMM in the financial statement. So this is the first point that you can write over here. Next one, having determined which controls are important in reducing the risk of ROMM, the auditor can design the nature, time and extent of the further procedures. The auditor can see what are all the controls that the company has put in place so that how many procedures I have to do. If they have good set of controls in place who are working fine, reducing the ROMM, then they would have to do lesser procedures, right? This is a domino effect. Ki agar there are good procedures, reducing the risk, reducing the procedures for the auditor. So this is again why it is important for the auditor to check the internal controls of the company, effectiveness actually, right? So these are the 2 points that you can write. Third one, if the controls are adequately designed, the auditor may decide to perform test of controls to determine if the controls are in place effectively. Again, something that the auditor is going to do to check if the test of controls, via test of controls, if the controls are working fine or not, to check its effectiveness, to check its efficiency, right? So that is again the task of the auditor. So you can write any of these 3 points, like you can write any of the 2 points out of these 3. You do not have to write all of the 3 points. Then the method used to obtain the understanding, carry out the review the prior audit. So if I want to know what are the controls the company has put in place, I'll check the prior year audit files, because उसमें भी सारे details होंगे regarding what all controls the company is following from the previous years, right? Review reports to management from prior years, review company's own accounting procedures, evaluate reports and manuals, undertake walkthrough tests. So any of these 2 you can write over here, not all. You don't have to write these lengthy answers for a 3 marker question. You can only write 2 out of these 5 points and 2 pointers from above out of the 3 pointers that we have. Okay, I think this was pretty simple. No doubts would arise over here. Now let's move to the next portion. Next and main portion actually. Okay. In respect of the internal controls of Quirky Quadbike company, identify and explain 6 deficiencies. So you have to talk about 6 negative points from the company. Recommend a control to address these deficiencies. So you have to talk about the control recommendation, and you also have to talk about the test of controls out of these which you have recommended. The auditor should perform to assess whether each of these controls, if implemented, is operating effectively or not. So it's a 18 marker. That means 6 points you have to write, 3 marks each. Okay. Now let's start with reading the question. Again, guys, we'll keep it very, very interactive. You people are going to tell me what is the red flag identified in a particular paragraph. We are going to move paragraph by paragraph, line by line only. I am not going to read the entire case study at once, because that is not what we usually recommend also. Just like we did for yesterday's risk question, similar thing we are going to do today for the internal controls question as well. In So let's start with reading the question. It says, it is 1st of July 2005. Q Company manufactures ready mixed concrete, which it supplies to wide range of customers throughout the country, which is okay. The company's year end is 31st of July 2025, which is important for me. You are an audit supervisor at a company and you are reviewing the systems documentation in preparation for interim audit and attendance at the year end inventory count. Although payroll and inventory are standalone services, standalone means separate services, the sales and purchases modules are fully integrated into the computerized accounting system. So, which is okay. So, this was a normal background of the case study that they have provided it to us. Okay. Now, let's start by reading these sentences. Let's see how many deficiencies we are able to identify. The company undertakes continuous production 24 hours a day. That means that their production does not stop any point in time. Okay. Raw materials will be transferred from the warehouse to the factory during the inventory count on 31st of July 2025 so that the production can continue. However, no goods will be received from suppliers or dispatched to customers during this period. Now, do we have any red flag over here? Again, don't go my connotation of how I am reading the question. Use your brain, use your knowledge, and then let me know. What is the red flag over here, and what is the impact that we're going to talk about? Tell me quickly.
Hello. Hi.
Hi.
Hello. Yes. The issue here is the movement of the stock during the stock count. So there's a risk of double counting the stock or even missing counting some of the stock. So in turn, it will overstate the inventory. Thank you.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much. Perfect. Rest, let's see, inventory movement during the year. I think he was perfect in answering the particular deficiency, completing the deficiency as well. Yes, there should be no movement of goods when inventory is being taken place. Dinesh, I think you're trying to write the recommendation, not a deficiency. The inventory may be misstated. Raw materials will be transferred from the warehouse to the factory. There might be deficiencies since the mixing of inventory during the inventory count. Yes. So basically, they're saying that we are not going to stop our production. We are not going to stop even if the inventory count is happening. So when you're counting the inventory, what if you count the same product twice? Twice. So that is going to lead to double counting. Or for example, you miss on an inventory item or a finished good item, that is going to lead to omission of the item, right? So that is going to lead to inventory being misstated, either over or understated. We don't know, but inventory counts will not be correct, and it is going to lead to our inventory misstated problems, right? This is my deficiency. You people are correct. Tell me the recommendation. What should technically happen? Sorry. Tell me, what should technically happen?
Hello. I think um, the auditor needs to be present during the inventory count so that he will make sure that all the processes and the procedures are being followed.
Okay. Okay, let's see others' answers as well. There should be no movement in the inventory, but the production is continuing for 24 hours 7. That's the agenda for the company. I don't think so. We can stop the movement. Adjustment should be made for the goods produced in that day. Okay, I think that is one thing that I can potentially refer to. No transfer inventory during the current inventory should be done, not done in the relaxed time. Inventory has to be numbered in sequence to our. Numbering से इसका कोई लेना देना नहीं. Shilpa, numbering does not have anything in relation to this. So that does not make any sense. A senior supervisor should be appointed where the inventory count is going to monitor to invent movement. So even if there's a supervisor or senior member who is present at the inventory count, still there can be omissions or double counting, because ultimately the inventory is continuously coming in, continuously going out. So even the supervisor or the senior person might not be able to do anything in that regards. He'll just be able to see if the process is going along perfect or not. So not relevant over here. Implement cutoff and no movement of inventory during count shall present at count. If even if auditor is present at the count, it won't solve the purpose, solve the problem of omission or double counting. Movement of inventory between departments must not take place at times in inventory count, and the management must consider holding an amount of buffer stock for the production. The inventory production should get stopped. Physically inspect them. Raw materials must be set aside as double counting can be avoided. Shreya is correct. Shreya has given us a valid point. She is saying raw materials should be set aside as double counting can be avoided. So whatever raw materials that you require at the year end, which is 31st of July 2025, those should be collected and should be kept aside, so that we are not touching that. And whatever supposingly whatever inventory that we feel that might get converted to a finished product, that should be separated out, and your raw materials or your work in progress has to be separated out, so that we don't double count them continuously, because production is continuous basis. You'll be having raw materials, you'll be having work in progress, and you'll be having finished goods. Three things will happen, right? So that is, I think, one of the pointers that we can potentially highlight over here, which is going to reduce our problem of double counting and omission if we are already keeping that aside and we are only counting that inventory and nothing new or older is being counted. The production process should be paused when the inventory is happening. The movement of inventory, raw materials shall be kept a separate place during the count and shall be added to the finished goods inventory count. Ahmad is also absolutely correct. Goods should be transferred before the count. Correct. Auditor should physically present at the warehouse. Even if auditor is physically present, it won't help us with the omission and double counting. Let me show you the answer of mine. Okay, so first of all, let's discuss the explanation that we have wrote. First of all, this is going to fetch me half a mark as we discussed. This is the identification from the question. And then I have written inventory records could be under or overstated. You people can write the word misstated also. That's also absolutely correct. If goods are missed or double counting due to movement between the warehouse and the factory and the ongoing production. So it can either be double counted or it can be missed because of the continuous production happening, continuous movement actually happening between the warehouse and the factory, right? So my recommendation is here, if you see raw material, I think some of you have given the correct answer, which is this one. Raw materials required at 31st of July, which is year end, should be estimated and put one aside. These should be included as work in progress and not raw material. So this should be included as separate. These basically should be separated out so that I am not touching this inventory and I'm only able to count this inventory at the year end, which is not going to have problems of misstated inventory or double counting of the inventory. Okay, another one, which is, of course, this is little technical. If you want to write it, you can, but the first one I think is the best one. But a lot of you told me that you should stop the movement of the inventory. But if you see, guys, here the company is saying the company undertakes continuous production. So continuous production of the company's core agenda is to continuously produce their products. If you're stopping the movement of your, or if you're stopping the production, it is going to hamper their supply of goods. They won't be able to make their goods in those 24 hours, and due to which the supply would be an issue, right? So we cannot ask them to stop their production, stop their processes, because ultimately what about the efficiency that they're maintaining, right? The customers might get disheartened, or they might not get the products on time because the company stopped their production or stopped the movements at a point in time. So that is not a correct explanation for this, correct recommendation for it. The correct recommendation would have to be that you are separating out your inventory of your work in progress at the year end, and you're only counting that inventory and nothing else, nothing new, nothing old you're calculating, so that the amount you have recognized, the count you have recognized is absolutely correct, right? So this was your recommendation. And then, okay, you did not understand the first point. I am saying, see, here I'm saying you people, when you produce the goods, the company is producing the goods, they have some raw materials in place, right? So there are three kinds of inventory that we have: raw materials, work in progress, and finished goods. Okay. So when we are producing, we are converting the raw materials to work in progress first, and then from work in progress, finally it goes to the finished products, right? So with the first recommendation, I am saying that I will keep the raw materials separate from my inventory, the continuous inventory which is happening, continuous movement which is happening, separate from that, so that at the year end, I am only calculating that raw material, that work in progress only, so that my count is also correct, production also not getting impacted because of the same reason. Okay. Then my test of control would be raw materials to be used in the production on should be inspected at the beginning of the count to ensure they are separated out from the rest of the lot. So I'll just quickly review them. I'll quickly inspect them. Like a lot of you were saying that auditor should inspect, auditor should go to the warehouse to inspect the same thing. So I, as an auditor, I will go to the inventory, I will go to the warehouse, and I am going to check if they have separated out the inventory and they're only counting that inventory for 31st of July and nothing apart from that. Okay. Next one is during the inventory count, the auditor should observe the controls over the transfer of raw materials from the warehouse to the factory to ensure they are being carried out as per the instructions. Which instructions? This instruction that we talked about. So again, review. So during the count, you can have a surface level review. Observation can happen from the auditor's perspective as well. Okay. Are we okay with this? Recommendation, I've told again, recommendation basically is that whatever inventory I have in place that I want to count on 31st of July, I will keep it aside. I will not mix it with my continuous inventory that is happening, because every single time, every single actually hour of the day, the inventory is going to keep increasing or decreasing. जो आप प्रोडक्शन कर रहे हो, it will increase the inventory, and the inventory that is going out for the finished goods or out for the customers, it is going to decrease the inventory, right? So I am keeping the inventory which I want to count at the 31st of July separate, so that that inventory is complete, is accurate, and I'm only counting that inventory in place, and I'm not counting anything new or anything gone by to the customers. So that is my recommendation. Okay.
Ma'am, can I just speak something?
Sure, sure.
Like you said, the WIP uh and the raw materials are keeping aside while the continuous counting is going on, right? So
Yeah.
there'll be finished goods as well, which is producing on the way continuously. So we are not keeping aside those finished goods, right?
No, no, no.
So
Finished.
how we are going to calculate that finished goods? Like that is also a part of our inventory, right?
Yes, that is part of your inventory, but usually in the warehouses, whenever your production is going on, your finished goods are not kept in place in the same inventory, same warehouse wherein your production is keeping place. Your factory jahan pe hai, because here, if you see, it is talking from warehouse to the factory during the count. So factory mein finished goods usually nahi hote hain. They keep it completely aside, irrespective of the new products. तो वो तो completely aside है, इसलिए यहाँ पे हमने finished goods की बात नहीं करी है.
Okay. So we'll keep that aside, only WIP and raw materials, because we're talking about the factory. That is the recommendation, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to, in the test of control, you said we are going to review the same, that whether they're separating or not, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Let's move to the next one. So first paragraph, we are done. We just have to ignore this now since we have written our answer for the first paragraph. All right. Let's move to the next paragraph, which is little lengthy. Let's read line by line, and you people are again going to tell me what is the issue, if there is any issue. And don't go by my connotation. If I'm saying something is right, it might not be right. Raw materials required in the production process are requested by factory production supervisors, which is okay. This is their duty. They have to do it. That's okay. Requisition forms are sent to the purchase ordering department for authorization and processing. The requisition form contains details. Okay. Can somebody tell me what is requisition forms? Requisition forms?
So just for the goods to be ordered, each department has a purchase requisition department actually, where they put in their requisition forms into the purchase ordering department, from where they centrally purchase all the goods. Instead of each department ordering their own goods, a company has a centralized purchasing ordering department which orders the goods and distributes them to the respective departments of divisions.
Perfect. Thank you, Dinesh. So yes, requisition form is basically a request form. Simple language would be request form, wherein the production supervisor, if he wants some raw materials or if whatever materials he wants to have, he is going to make a requisition form. He is going to make a request actually to the centralized purchasing ordering department of the company. And then the purchasing order company is going to go to the suppliers and is going to order the products which the company needs. So that is your requisition forms. So let's continue. Requisition forms are sent to the purchase ordering department for authorization and processing, because they are the ones, as I told to you people, they are the ones who are going to process and send it ultimately to the suppliers. The requisition forms contain details of the materials required, of course, but do not detail the current inventory levels. Okay. Is it a problem, guys, if they are not having the current inventory levels, or is it okay?
It is a problem
How?
because we might have some goods in the inventory which is actually needed for the department to use. But if we tell them to order by the purchasing ordering department, it might lead to losses for the company by ordering those goods. So it might negatively affect the company.
Perfect. Absolutely correct. So if your current, see, whenever you order something, you check how many products, raw materials, whatever you're ordering, how many of those you already have, right? If you have a lot of them already, you are not going to order for obvious reasons, right? It's a loss for the company, increase of expenses for the company. But if the level is very, very low, again, that's an issue. So both of these things is an issue. If it is a lot, it's an issue. If it is very, very low, it's again an issue. But if they are not mentioning the details in the current level, the current inventory levels, it is going to be a problematic situation for the company, because it is going to lead to either surplus or less of inventory are not mentioned. Absolutely correct. So they should mention the level of inventory that they already have, so that the purchasing department can make a wise decision of ordering only those quantities of products that are required for the company, and they are not ordering anything lesser or anything more for the company, right? There's a risk that the reordering level isn't reached and yet the requisition is raised, increasing cost to hold for the company. Yes, cost of holding of the inventory is also increasing. Holding costs for the company, that is also increasing. So this is the main problem. So they should actually mention the current inventory levels also. What would be the recommendation here, guys? I think this is pretty simple. In test of controls, we are checking if the recommendations are followed by management properly or not. Yes. Whatever recommendation that we have given, we'll check if the management is following that or no. They should not detail, they should detail that, they should mention the details in the requisition form. The current inventory levels should be mentioned. Sorry, mention the details of the inventory. Yes. So your simple recommendation, the simplest recommendation is that the requisition form should be changed, should be amended to contain the inventory levels, the current inventory levels in the requisition form also. Very simple, right? The inventory system should be updated with the current inventory levels, current inventory stocks, etc. Right? Now, what would be the test of control? You have recommended that the requisition form should be amended, should be changed, and it should contain the current inventory levels. What would be the test of controls?
Maybe a sample of requisition forms can be tested if they can contain the current inventory levels have been maintained and stated in the requisition forms. And if yes, it is good to go.
Perfect. Obtain a sample of requisition forms to ensure inventory levels is mentioned. Absolutely. Obtain the sample of the new requisition form or the amended requisition forms that you have to check if the current inventory levels are also mentioned on that or not. As simple as that. Do we think that there's anything difficult over here in test of controls? Very simple. जो हमने recommend किया, whatever we have recommended, we are just going to test if the management is actually using that or not. As simple as that. No rocket science over here. Okay? Chalo. Next one. So we are done with this. So we have identified two till now. One was this, and another was this. Okay, two are done. Out of how many? 6. 2 are done. Okay. On receipt of goods from suppliers, the quantities received are checked by a warehouse assistant against the supplier's delivery note. Okay. A goods received note is electronically produced by the warehouse assistants and notifications are sent to all relevant departments. Once received, purchase invoices are matched to GRN and logged into the payroll. Okay. Purchase invoices are matched to the GRN, goods received notes, and are logged into the payable system by a payables clerk. Application controls are used to check the accuracy of the input. Okay, now let me know what is the issue with this paragraph, if any.
So the basis for generation of purchase invoice should be GRNs, and matching purchase invoice with GRN would not be a perfect control.
No. It's actually a good thing that they're mentioning they are, they are reviewing it with the purchase invoices, because usually, if you remember from our classes also, the invoices comes after the goods received note. So we should always match the invoices to the GRN and not to the, which other document we are talking about? Orders. Okay, let me give you the hint. There's a problem over here.
Um, Actually, we need to check the goods against the purchase order, like what we have ordered, not what supplier gave us. So that is the problem here.
Yes, perfect. So, see, if you have received some goods, right? Now, there is a possibility that the supplier gave you something extra or might not have given you some product completely, right? So you are checking it against the supplier notes, you are checking again the delivery notes with the supplier notes also, but you are not checking it with your own purchase order. आपने how much you ordered. For example, you ordered 10 quantities, supplier gave you 9 quantity. How are you going to get to know that you actually ordered 10 when you're not comparing? So that's the first red flag that we're going to talk about, that why are they not comparing this with our own purchase orders, right? Whatever we ordered, we have to compare it to the goods that we have actually received. If we are not doing that, that can lead to getting lesser products or more products. If we are receiving lesser products, it can lead to our efficiency issues because we might not have the sufficient resources. If we're receiving more products, we might pay extra to our suppliers, leading to increase in cost for the company. Have we understood this thing?
Ma'am, can we write that the quality is not being checked, like only the quantities is being checked?
That's the next point. ठीक है, तो सबसे पहले the first thing that we are going to talk about is in regards to your purchase orders. Okay, and yes, Maham, as you mentioned, we are also going to talk about quality also. They are saying that they are going to check the quantity received are checked by the warehouse assistant. But what about the quality? Why are they not checking the quality also? What if we have received damaged products from the company? Right, there's a situation wherein we can receive damaged products due to which they can be, it can impact our customer goodwill also, because they might receive damaged products from us, right? So that is the reason two issues are there in a single sentence. That is the reason reading the single sentence at least twice if you're having some confusions is really very important, and this is part of your same deficiency. First thing is that it is not comparing the supplier delivery note against my purchase order, and they're also not reviewing the quality. Only quantities are getting reviewed by the same, right? Let me show you my answer also for this one. Okay, this we have already done. This one. See, deliveries of goods are checked against the delivery note, not the supply from the supplier, but not the purchase order. So this is the first thing that I mentioned. In addition, sorry, um, yeah, the quantities are checked, but not the quality. So who is going to check the quality? That is questionable, which they are not checking, right? Goods may be accepted which are not originally ordered, leading to waste of companies' resources. So this is what we talked about. You can also write increased cost for the company. That is also okay. You can talk about that. If the warehouse assistants are only checking the quantities, goods which are are not of usable or suitable condition may be accepted, which can lead to poor quality goods received, hence affecting customer goodwill. Because we ultimately will be providing the same goods to our customers also, same quality goods to our customers also, which is going to lead to customer goodwill issues. Okay, so these 2 points you have to mention. And before you people ask me that if we can mention only one, you're not going to score full marks, because the reason why is the reason because in the same sentence, in this only sentence, the problem is there in the same sentence, right? Same liner, they have told the both the problems, so you have to talk about both the problems over here. If you're writing one, probably you're going to get only half a mark for the same. Okay, then let me show you the recommendation. I think simple recommendation again. Deliveries from suppliers should be checked on arrival. Quantities and quality both should be checked before we accept from the supplier. The warehouse assistant should agree the receipt of goods to both the supplier delivery note and the original purchase order that we have placed. Simple. जो नहीं कर रहे, usually क्या होता है, whenever we are writing our answers for deficiencies, usually I suggest that whatever the company is not doing, you can write the recommendation in vice versa format for them, right? Ki this is not happening, this is how it should be done. Okay, but you are, again, you cannot just write that this is not happening, this should happen. No, you have to add your own value to it. Like if for example I am saying that purchase orders, it should be compared against the purchase order, the reason why also should be written, right? So deliveries from supplier should be checked on arrival for quantity and quality both prior to I accept from the supplier. I am not just stopping at here, I am also saying that it should be done prior to acceptance, because once I have accepted, it does not make any sense for the supplier. Supplier will say, no, no, I have given you the good quality goods only, right? The warehouse assistant should agree the receipt of the goods to both the delivery note and the original orders. All checks should be evidence on the supplier's delivery note. Evidence means by a way of signature. There should be some review. This is my value addition. Okay, if you guys are not writing the value additional point, if you're just making the negative into positive, you're only going to score half a mark. So you have to write your own value addition, that supposedly why it should be done, who should review, how frequently it should review, signatures should happen, right? These things you can write over here to add your own value. I'm just giving you points. Please write, if you have some pen and paper, you can probably write them in that also. Two separate deficiencies, no, Shriya, because it is part of the same sentence. If you see, एक ही चीज में दोनों चीजें हो रही हैं यहाँ पे, same portion is having both the problems. Once they receive, वो एक ही बारी में एक ही process, the process is same on receipt of goods from suppliers. This is the same thing जिसमें दोनों चीजें वो गलत कर रहे हैं, इसलिए it is part of your same deficiency and it's not different. Okay, if you're writing them separately, you're not going to score separate marks for it. It is part of same one because the process on receipt of goods from suppliers, this is same. Okay. Okay, is this the same for both? Yes. No two issues in the same sentence. Yes, absolutely correct. Can you repeat what you mentioned tonight? Yes, I said that whenever you're writing your recommendation, you always have to add your own value to it, value addition basically. Okay, you cannot just make negative into positive, just flip it and your recommendation is done. No, that is going to score half a mark. If you want to add value to your answer, potentially A, you can talk about how frequently the activity should be done. So sometimes you write now ki monthly we should do, quarterly we should do, annually we should do, weekly we should do. So how frequently it should be done, why it should be done, how is it impacting us in a positive way, probably you can write that. Who should review? So a senior personnel should review, finance director should review, etc. Whatever you want to write. Then way of signatures, regarding the same, what is the signatures, who is going to do signatures. Just like here, if I give you the example, here I wrote that these receipts should be checked, all checks should be evidenced by this way of signatures. So evidence by means signatures. So any of these 3-4 things you can write to uplift the answer quality of yours in terms of the recommendation. Okay, and then as simple as that, test of control, very simple. Simply take a sample of the delivery notes for the evidence, check if it is evidence, check if it is signatured, check if the quality is being checked or not, and they are also comparing with the purchase order or not. You can also review the process. If you don't want to see the sample of the delivery notes, you can also review the process, how they are comparing with the purchase order, how they are evidencing it, how they are checking the quality. You can also review that. Observe the process also. Okay? Are we okay with this one? Chalo, let's move to the next one. I hope it is clear till now. Okay, next. A goods received note, GRN, is electronically produced by the warehouse assistant and notifications are sent to all relevant departments. So we are okay till now. We don't have any problem, I guess, until you people tell me if there's any problem. Once received, purchase invoices are matched to GRN and logged into the payroll system by a payables clerk. Application controls are used to check the accuracy of the input. Okay. Do we have any red flag here, or is it okay? In the last sentence.
Yes, hello. Hi. Yes, we do have a red flag of the clerk. I think it needs to be reviewed by a senior person.
It should be. I'm so sorry. I did not get it.
Oh, sorry. I think it should be reviewed by a senior person, not
Okay.
only a clerk. So I think there's a risk of errors.
Okay. Okay. Anything else? Segregation of duties. Segregation of duties kaise? How, Faisal? Segregation of duties. Purchase invoices are matched to GRN and logged into the system by the clerk. That is one single task. I'm sorry. So that's not a problem of segregation of duty. So no. Before logging in by the clerk, it has to be authorized by a supervisor. Why? Review तो बाद में होता है ना. Your review happens afterwards, after it has been logged in. that clerk, what is the job of the clerk is to do the simplest task in the organization. What he is doing, he is receiving the purchase invoices, whatever he has received, he is matching to the GRN and logging into the system. That's all. Review potentially is going to happen afterwards. Yes, you can talk about that also, but I have another problem over here, which I think only one person has been able to identify correctly, which is Nikita. Invoice should be matched with purchase order and GRN. Invoices should always, purchase order we have already talked about in the previous risk. They aren't checking completeness. If you read the last sentence, guys, everybody concentrate on the last sentence. It is saying application controls they have put in place. The application controls, if you remember from your syllabus, are used to check the accuracy of the input. What about the completeness? If they're only checking the amount, if they're not checking the number of transactions, number of invoices, what if they miss on any invoice? It is not complete. Right? So that is the issue for me over here, which is Nikita, well done on this one regarding the
Ma'am,
points.
if the last line is not written, like if this line application controls are used to check the accuracy of the input, like if this line is not written and only the first line is written, then can we add this thing that the accuracy and completeness is not being checked of the invoices?
No, 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 no. You cannot assume anything on your own.
All right.
Until and unless they tell you that something is not being done, you cannot assume it is not being done. Similarly, somebody asked me regarding that review is not happening for the payables clerk, right? So again, they have not told us. Usually in 99% of the case scenarios, guys, I'm telling you from the experience, and even if you check out any of the questions, if the review is not happening, they are going to tell you that the review is not happening. Because this is not a direct control question, this is a control deficiencies question. That is potentially one of the reasons I can tell you that they have not written that the review is happening. So because again, do not assume anything on your own. Okay, if explicitly they have mentioned that yes, the review is not taking place, that is where you talk about the deficiency for it. Yes, Dinesh, I can explain it again. If you read the last line which says application controls are used to check the accuracy, so you use your application controls for multiple different purposes to check the accuracy and completeness, usually for your the transactions that are happening in the company, whether payables, whether sales, etc., sales revenue, expenses, whatever. Here in the question, they are saying that the clerk inputs the data into the system. He has just input, right? And the application controls is just checking the accuracy of it. They are not checking the completeness of the invoices, completeness of the input done by the clerk. What if he misses on some of the payables amount, payable invoices? What about that? It has to be complete and it has to be accurate also. Both the things should be done, right? These checks will not ensure the completeness of the input, right? And if all invoices in your system have not been input correctly, this probably means that you might miss on certain invoice. For example, there were 10 invoices, right, with amount XYZ. The application control correctly said the accuracy is correct, the amount is correct, but for example, there was actually a missing invoice. So if there's a missing invoice, let's suppose you have 10,000 rupees. What about that 10,000 rupees? Your supplier will not receive that amount from you. And if they are not receiving their amount on timely basis, it is going to lead to, I want the keyword, guys, come on. If they are not receiving the amount on timely basis, if my supplier, yes, if my supplier is not receiving the amount on timely basis, or I am not paying my supplier, then it is going to lead to loss of supplier goodwill. Thank you, Adiba. Okay.
Ma'am, I have understood this input like accuracy and completeness. Then what about the checking like authorization for the payable clerk. Who will check? Like a senior person, there will be need for to check the things what an account payable clerk is doing. So, shall we include that point or no?
So again, as I mentioned, do not assume. If they would have written, see, if there would have been a problem with the authorization or for the review, which you're correct, which makes absolute sense, okay? But if they would have written something in regards to that, that authorization is not happening, no review is taking place, then you would have to talk about the deficiency of it. But on your own, you cannot assume that the authorization or the review is not taking place until and unless they have given in the question.
Ante?
Okay, so let me show you my answer also for this one quickly. Yeah, so statement from the question, these checks do not ensure completeness of the input. If all invoices are not entered into the system, suppliers may not be paid on time, leading to supplier goodwill issues. Right? So you will tell that the application control should have the completeness and accuracy inputs in total also. The completeness should also be checked along with your accuracy for it. So in your application controls, you have batch checks, batch controls, you have your sequence checks, you have numerical checks, arithmetical checks, all of these. If you remember from your own, content from the Kaplan kit or whatever you have, from wherever you people have studied. So that is how these things ensure completeness and accuracy, both, not just one. Okay, and then the next one, the test of control would be very simple. I, as an audit team, I will just do a test data. I will just check if the batch control or the sequence check or the arithmetical check that I have put in place, is it actually working fine or no, or whether it is still just checking the accuracy of the controls that I have input and not checking the completeness. Or you can also check the process, how they have included this in the process, to check if they have also included completeness as part of their process or not. Okay. Okay, next one. So we are done with this one as well. This big chunky paragraph also over. Let's move to the next paragraph now. Each receivable clerk is responsible for processing of sales transaction for a given set of customers and is able to make changes to these customer details in master file also. Okay. Now reread the line again. Each receivable clerk is responsible for processing of sales transaction for a given set of customers. That is okay. And is able to make changes to these customers' details in the master file. Are we okay with this?
No, ma'am.
Why?
Master file is a confidential data, and if we give access to anybody in the business, they can access the confidentiality data, and which can lead to the breach of for the company. मतलब my means कि important data बाहर leak हो सकता है जो company के लिए अच्छा नहीं होगा in future.
Correct. Perfect. Thank you, Shayan. Yes. So she is correct. Unauthorized amendments. Anybody can make fraudulent changes to the data. Fraud errors can happen for the company. Leak of data can happen. So, because it is master file, master data file, and who is able to review? The receivables clerk. He is the junior level, the most junior level, person in the company, right? If he is able to make, anybody can make the changes. Any unauthorized changes can be done into the master file, which can lead to frauds and errors in the company, in the master file. So only who should be able to make the changes?
Only the respected senior official should make the changes in the master file.
Correct. Only an authorized person or senior level person, you can write, only they should be able to make the changes to the master file and nobody else apart from that. What kind of fraud can happen? Somebody can leak your customer data. You know, customer data is really very confidential for every company. They cannot leave. Customer data is what? Customer name, details, address, phone number, personal details, passport, all of these details can be there, right? So if these details are leaked somewhere, is given to somebody else, it is going to cause a lot of problems. So that is a fraud that can happen for the company. That somebody can steal their data, use it for some malpractices, and hence problems can arise for the company. So that is what the fraud can happen. Right? So this is your recommendation. Recommendation would be authorized personnel. You people are correct. And what would be the test of details? Test of controls.
Ask any junior level clerk to enter the data, enter the master file. If the master file rejects it, so it is okay.
Test data, you mean?
Yes.
Dummy data. Yes, she's correct. Again, you can enter as part of your test of controls. You can enter a dummy. You can ask any clerk to use their ID and password to log in into the master file, like a dummy data that you do. And if he or she is able to log in, again, the company is not following. If the master file declines, that is when you get to know that yes, the master file is not accessible by everybody. So this is one of the test of control that you can follow. Another one you can talk about is you can review the master file, who has accessed it. You can review by the way of signatures also. You can check the signatures. You can check the login details of the authorized personnel. So just say whenever we log in, we also get the timestamp when the login happened, who logged in into the system, etc. So we can also review that. So anything you can write, it just should make sense. Exceptions report can be reviewed. Yes, correct, Shriya. Exceptions report can be reviewed in here as well. Perfect. Okay, I think this was fairly simple. We have seen a lot of times this this master file data having a problem. So I think that's okay. Okay, next one. On a monthly basis, customer statements are produced and sent out, but no further follow-up of outstanding debt is undertaken by company's credit controller. Most customers pay by bank transfer. That is okay. So this is again, I'll not ask you people because of course it is very evident because it is no over here. So you people explain it to me. How is this an issue? If they're not further following up on the outstanding debts, how is this an issue for the company?
Risk of recoverable debts.
As
Bad
simple as
debts
that.
mean, yeah.
I think it's bad debts.
Yeah.
I think it's increased bad debts or receivables, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Increase of bad debts, irrecoverable debts, leading to receivables issues, revenue issues, etc. Very simple. Why are they not following up with the outstanding debts? If you're not following up, ultimately your customers are not going to come from the front and they're not going to pay you up front, right? You have to keep up following with them to be able to receive your amount from your customers, right? So if you're not doing that, if the credit controller is not doing its job, it is going to lead to risk of bad debts, irrecoverable debts, whatever you want to write, you can. Let me know the recommendation. Proper and regular credit checks are performed so that affecting going concern. How going concern?
So the credit control department must actually perform some aged receivables listing and follow up the debts appropriately so that the risk of bad debts can be mitigated.
Perfect. Great. I want to know how it can affect our going concern. Nikita, exceptions report is basically a report which contains all of the errors that has arisen for a particular process or for a particular system. It only contains the errors or problems or hiccups that the system faced. So a list of all the errors or list of all the issues, that is your exceptions report. No cash flow issues. No, not at all. One item, I'll just tell you this simple concept that going concern is not caused by one problem in the company. Going concern is when it affects the entire company. Like it's a major thing that your revenues are getting impacted, your assets, your demand, your supply, your customers, your goodwill, your suppliers, everything is going wrong, 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 wrong. That is when you talk about your going concern. Just one thing going wrong for the company does not mean it is facing going concern issues. Okay. So please make sure that you are not using this lightly in every case scenario. If you have any change in credit status of the customers, then it will lead to errors. Okay. And what would be the test of controls for this one? Quickly, let's cover that also. Review age receivables and follow-ups. So you'll review the follow-ups that the company has done. You'll select a sample of the potentially the receivables and check if the amount has been received, or you're going to check if they have actually done the follow-ups for the XYZ customers. So you can check that. Select a sample of customer statement and review that all receivables are followed up correctly. Correct. Is performing annual credit checks. Okay, perfect. Yes, so in any of these three, you can write anything else which is relevant to you. You can also talk about the same thing also. Okay, so we are done till now. I think we have identified how many. Let's see. I think we have already identified 6. Let's move to the last liner also. Most customers make payments by bank transfer, which is okay, which is not an issue. Each day, a finance clerk posts the bank transfer received from the bank statements to the bank ledger account. That means from the third party statements to our own accounting, and updates the customer accounts also. The same clerk performs the month bank reconciliation. What is the risk over here?
Segregation of duties.
Yeah. Segregation of duties. How is it segregation of duties, guys?
Because a single person is performing a task for posting the receipt to the bank ledger also and updating the same monthly bank reconciliation. So there can be a risk of errors also and a chance of fraud also.
Perfect. Okay, I'll give you a scenario, guys. If here the last line that is given to us, the same clerk performs the monthly bank reconciliation. Supposingly, if this was not given, would this still be a segregation of duty, or it would be okay?
It would be a segregation of duty error.
How?
Because the same person updates the customer's accounts as well, right?
Yes, perfect. It will still be an issue because the person is getting the bank transfer receipts to the bank statements and the ledger account. That is okay. Wahan tak we are okay. We don't have any problem because he is just posting the things. We are okay. But he is then also updating the customer accounts, and then he is doing the bank reconciliation also. He's doing so many things on its own. So it is an issue. That basically means that he is getting the receipts from the bank, he's posting in the ledger, and then reviewing also himself. So whatever mistakes or whatever frauds he do in the bank ledger account, nobody is going to get to know because he himself is doing the bank reconciliation. Right? So frauds, errors, threat of self-review, we don't care over here. This is not a question of ethical threats, but if you talk about concept-wise, yes. Just for the relevance of it, yes, but you're not going to mention that over here because this is not a threats question, ethical threats question. This is a deficiency question. What would be the recommendation for this one, guys? I think very simple.
Hire more staff and then segregate the duties between them.
Two separate person should be doing 2 separate tasks. Yeah.
Then our reviews needs to be done by a senior person so that any errors will be then corrected. Yeah.
Perfect. And test of controls?
Inspect that the duties have been performed separately by different members or not.
Okay. And how are you going to check that?
I guess by seeing the job description.
Okay.
Also by observing that who prepares and who transferring the bank transfer. So that helps to observe.
ठीक है. Signatures? Yeah.
Yes.
Signatures can also be tested. You can, whatever you told Adiba right now, if you include that follow through the signatures or also review the signatures, that is when you're going to score 1 full mark for the test of controls. Okay? Because here you're adding value also, that how are you going to check it is checking the signatures of the person who has signed the bank reconciliation ultimately at the end of the day, the senior person or whatever the person has checked it, right? Review the job description is also okay. You can also review who actually was the person who has done the bank reconciliation and who has is the person who has done the bank statement thing, the bank ledger thing. All right. Okay, so we are done with these. Let's move to the last paragraph now and see if we are having any further issues or not. So we have identified 7 till now. We were only asked to identify 6. That is the reason yesterday also I said the same thing to you people, that in every question that comes along, whether it is a risk question, whether it is a controls question, you are going to get extra risk or controls always. Okay, but it is your job that you do not write all of them. You only pick up the best answer, best points that you can write potentially. Okay, last paragraph. Q company has a HR department which is responsible for setting up new permanent employees. Okay, that's fine. An authorized joiner form containing all relevant details, including a unique employee number, is sent to the payroll department so that the new employees can be added to the payroll, which is perfect, which is actually the duty of the HR department beautifully. During the busy periods, the company recruits temporary employees and joiner forms are not completed, and instead these appointments are processed by the production director, who informs the payroll department by email. Okay. So ultimately payroll department is getting to know about the temporary employee. So we should be okay with this. By email we are getting to know about it. So is there any deficiency? Any red flag?
I guess the HR should do this duty, but not the finance director.
Okay.
And also inform the payroll department that only authorized joiner forms should be allowed to be entered in the payroll department, payroll records.
Correct. The main issue here, guys,
And
is,
also,
yeah, tell me.
yes, and also, yes, can I add? And also, the director can manipulate the figures for his friends so that yeah.
Correct. Yes. So that is the reason that the production director should not be in place to do this job. It should be done by HR department only. And the main thing that we have to talk about is here is in regards to your joiner forms. That why, even if it is temporary, joiner forms is basically a form which contains all of the details for your employees: name, address, number, salary details, qualification details, etc. Everything that you want to know about a particular employee, that is your joiner form. As soon as you join, you fill up a form when you join the company. That is your joiner form, right? So the main problem over here is in regards to why the joiner forms are not completed, even if it is a temporary employee, right? Even if they are going to go after 1 month, why they are not completed? There can be frauds, especially because there's a production director included over here. He can set up fictitious employees also, right? Which can lead to increase in payroll expense for the company, or vice versa. It can also lead to employee goodwill issues. Why? Because there can be issues wherein a particular employee was part of the company, but because he did not fill up the joiner form, he did not get the pay or salary for that month. So both the things can happen. It can lead to fictitious employees, which can lead to increase in payroll expenses for the company, or it can also lead to employee goodwill issues if that person is not paid on timely basis by the payroll department. So even if they are telling about this process via the email, it's not sufficient, it's not professional at all. It should be done by HR department, and it should be done by joiner forms only, official joiner forms only, even if it is a temporary employee for the company. Okay. Recommendation, again, we have talked about that the joiner form should be complete in a full, and we can also talk about the signatures, that it should be signed by authorized person, by the HR director, for example, before they send into the payroll department, and it should not be done by the production director at all. So that would be your recommendation. And test of controls.
So we can review a sample of the employees from the employee list and match them to the joiner forms, whether the employee list matches the joiner forms, and each employee has filled out the joiner form in order to join with the firm.
Perfect. Anything else? Confirm that joiner forms are complete or not. How are we going to confirm, Adiba? How are we going to confirm? Probably taking a sample of it.
Like sample of the joiner forms agreeing to a payroll record.
Yeah. So taking a sample or selecting a sample of
Taking a
joiner
sample
forms.
of suppliers and internal matches, whether all have filled out
Yeah,
the forms.
correct. Perfect. All right. So with this, we are done with this question also. Do we have any question, guys? Any problems, any doubts for this one? Was it easy? Was it tough? Was it average?
Mom, if you don't mind, just one, this first one, like the warehouse. Can you please explain that one again?
Which one? Sure, I can. Why not?
The raw materials transferred from warehouse to factory, that one, mom. First.
Okay, sure. See, the problem here was the statement said that when I am counting my inventory on my year end, which is 31st of July, okay? When I count my inventory, the company is continuously running its production. That means it will be having raw materials converted to WIP. There will be new raw materials which the company would be producing 24 hours 7, okay? They are not going to stop. And the raw materials which are transferred from the warehouse to the factory, it is also going to get transferred during that count also. Now, I, as somebody who I am counting the inventory from one place to the other, I will be a little confused because continuously new inventory is coming into the warehouse, getting transferred to the factory or vice versa, whatever, right? So I, as a person who is counting the inventory, I might get confused. I might count the same inventory twice, or I might not count the inventory on its own again. Like एक inventory I might lose irrespective, right? So that is the problem because continuously they're transferring from the warehouse to the factory during the count. So I, as an auditor, who is somebody who is counting or whatever, I cannot stop the production. I cannot stop the transference because ultimately continuous production has to take place for the company. So what I can do, I can recommend to the company is that please set out whatever inventory you think, supposedly 10,000 rupees inventory, the company thinks that they will be able to do it by 31st of July. They want to recognize by 31st of July. So please keep that particular inventory, count of inventory aside so that the team only counts that inventory. They don't have to count anything else apart from that. Right? Because if they're counting it simultaneously again and again continuously, it is going to lead to problems. Supposingly you are there in the warehouse and you're counting a fresh batch of 10 items. Somebody came in, took 2 items from your batch and gave you 10 items to you. Similarly, this is happening again and again and again. Of course it will be an issue for you as a person who is counting. You'll get mad what they are doing, right? Somebody is taking out, somebody is giving me new products, somebody is taking out again new the products from my count, etc. So due to which a lot of confusion is going to happen, and hence overcounting or not counting at all can happen basically. And to avoid that risk, what I will do is I will tell you, hey, listen, till 31st of July, we will recognize this 10,000 inventory only. So you can just count this inventory and make sure that this 10,000 is complete. I will not give you anything extra. I will not take out anything from your inventory. So that is what the deficiency was about. Last test of control, sure, I can. Let me show you my answer for that also for you. Yeah, joiner forms. So test of control, we discussed about the sample, that probably we'll take a sample of the joiner forms. We'll take a sample of the new employees during the busy period and inspect the HR records if they're complete or not, if the joiner forms are complete or not for all the temporary and the permanent employees. So we can take that as part of our test of control. I'm having problem in inventory sales system, conceptual understanding, deficiencies and recommendations. Nikita, we'll discuss in our live class Tuesday. Don't worry. We'll probably sit one-on-one and I'll let you know how to solve that. Okay? ठीक है. Perfect, guys. Thank you. Till now we are done. अभी तक इसके अलावा do we have any doubts? We are still left with the question. Don't run. We still are left with question.
मैम अगर यही क्वेश्चन डायरेक्ट कंट्रोल्स के थ्रू आता तो हम इसको किस तरह सॉल्व करते? लाइक डायरेक्ट कंट्रोल्स के पॉइंट पे आता है कि कोई 3 डायरेक्ट कंट्रोल्स आप आइडेंटिफाई करें फ्रॉम दिस सिनेरियो, हाउ विल वी अप्लाई दैट एंड हाउ विल डू दैट? बिकॉज मेरा बहुत वीक था फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट में, तो आई वांटेड टू नो अबाउट इट.
In this case scenario, you cannot write direct controls because there are no direct controls.
It should be general, मतलब general लिख सकते हैं कि it should be from the scenario, case specific.
नहीं, case
Like
specific ही होगा.
जैसे for inventory system we write it should be in the correct accounting period and it should be in the correct correct allocation should be done correctly. This is a direct control objective for sales or payables. So we can write general or we have to write it specifically with the scenario.
एक क्वेश्चन पूछूं?
Yes.
अभी जो हमने डेफिशिएंसीज आइडेंटिफाई करी, कुछ भी जनरल था इसमें?
No.
That's the answer for direct controls also.
Okay, नहीं, क्योंकि मैम कुछ थे ना MCQs या कुछ शॉर्ट आंसर्स होते हैं जिसमें we have written कि डायरेक्टली आप जो स्टेट करना है रैंडमली के सेल्स का बता दो.
That is a
तो
knowledge based question जिसमें वो आपसे कंट्रोल ऑब्जेक्टिव्स पूछते हैं.
ओके. कोई क्वेश्चन ऐसा है, मतलब आई एम वेरी वीक इन दिस पॉइंट, डायरेक्ट कंट्रोल्स के क्वेश्चन में आई एम वेरी वीक, सो आई वांट सम क्वेश्चन लाइक दिस कि जिसमें मैं डिस्कस कर सकूं या मैं उसको अंडरस्टैंड कर सकूं कि किस तरह इम्प्लीमेंट करेंगे हम क्वेश्चन के अंदर और किस तरह इसका आंसर सॉल्व करेंगे. बिकॉज फॉर दीज deficiencies there are a lot of questions for them, but for the direct objectives there are 1 or 2 questions, so I wanted to know about it.
Solve Petra company. It's a
Okay.
latest past paper question. I have also done a
Okay.
debrief on YouTube, तो उसका debrief भी आपको मेरे YouTube पे मिल जाएगा.
Okay, done. Thank you,
Frisia
ma'am.
company, Dinesh is also telling us.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Can we write the signature point as test of control for all recommendation along with other points? Wouldn't all recommendation tests are similar? Is that okay? Signatures are not always valid. Only jahan pe Shriya we have documentation, only in those case scenarios signatures are valid. So if it is a documentational problem, yes, you can write it. But if it is a process based problem, then you might not be able to write the signature point. Okay, chalo. Let's start with the next question. Okay. Okay. Next question is in regards to substantive procedure, your favorite question we have today in here in the class. Let's discuss this one as well. Okay. It says, describe substantive procedures the auditor should perform to obtain sufficient appropriate evidence in regards to payables, payroll expenses. Okay. Now, guys, a lot of you, I'm sure, would know the direct general answers, general SP, rote learned SP, substantive procedures for payroll. But I genuinely don't want you people to tell me that. Of course, we're going to discuss. I'm going to show you my answers. I'm going to show you how to turn the general to specific, etc. But today, because of course, not everybody is going to be there in the class tomorrow, that is when I will be discussing substantive procedures in detail. But just one tip I would want to give you is substantive procedures are going to account for 20 to 25% of your entire paper. A. B, if you're learning substantive procedures by heart and you ignore the case study altogether and you just write whatever you have rote learned, just vomit your rote learned procedures into the answers. Out of these five, only 1 mark potentially will be given to you. Shayad se, not sure, probably will be given to you. Why? Because if you see, the question says in relation to Q company's payroll expense. They are not talking about general payroll expense. They are talking about Quirky Quadbike's payroll expense. Okay. So please make sure, of course, in this case scenario also, there's very little information given to us about the payroll. Whatever information is given to us, at least use that completely and then write the general ones. Okay. Quick question I'll ask from everybody and then we'll jump onto the answer for this one. If, for example, you all ask me any specific doubts, like abhi tak you were asking me all specific doubts relating to your own queries. Okay. If you ask me a specific doubt and I answer you something very random, something very general, which is not specific to your doubt, will you be satisfied? Yes, no? No. You'll think I do not know the answer potentially. That's why I'm roaming around. I've gone mad. Why am I answering something general जबकि आपने मुझसे specific पूछा है, right? Same is the case scenario with the examiner. Examiner has asked you something very specific. This is also for question number 3, guys. Okay? Something very specific. But I am telling you very general. Does not make any sense for the examiner also. Why would they give you marks? Right? So please, I know it seems very easy to just rote learn a PDF of substantive procedures. And I'm not lying, even I have provided my students with a PDF. But at the top of that PDF, I have written not to be rote learned, only to be referenced. You can ask any of them. From the day one, I have told them that we are not going to learn, we are only going to understand. Because even if, guys, even if you learn for section B, you are going to miserably fail in your section A. Because in section A, 10 markers SP is going to come. And if you don't understand the assertions, you're going to fail. Just try and do the questions for Study Hub on on substantive procedures on Study Hub. You'll get to know your answer on your own. You'll not be able to solve even one question if you do not understand the substantive procedures. Okay? Sanjan, I'm sorry, but that PDF is only for the paid students. I'm so sorry. Easy to make those points like relate to them and get their best friend. Thank you so much, Maham. Maham is one of the person who is there in my paid classes. Select a sample. Okay, Nikita is already answering. Sorry, Nikita, I'm wasting time. Okay, chalo, let me show you the answer for this one. So again, as I said, I am not saying that you have to write all the specific scenarios, because here also, if you see the question, not a lot of information is given about the payroll. Only this last one is given about the payroll, wherein the journal form is an issue, etc. Right? So whatever information is given to us about that, at least we should use that. And then if any other point is remaining, then we can write the general ones. Okay? Chalo. Let's read the first one. The first one says, cast the total payroll expense on a monthly payroll record of Quirky Quadbike company. So I've included the question name over here. One way by which you can make your general procedures case specific. Okay, including the question name. Okay, and agree the total wages and salaries expense in the general. So this was, if you see, this is the general procedure. This is not related to the case, but I have just included the question name over here to make it more case specific. Right? So this is the first one. I'll first show you the specific ones. Let's see the third one, guys. All eyes on third point. Since some of the employees, the joiner forms are not complete, since for some of the employees, the joiner forms are not completed, this is what we discussed just now. Discuss with the HR department the rationale for the same and ensure that the payroll expense recognized for these employees are correct. This was our problem, that probably the expense that we are doing for these employees, it's not correct, right? So that is what my procedure is. This is completely specific. This is not general at all. Right? I'm discussing with the HR department that what is the rationale for the same, why the journal form is not completed, and I'm also ensuring that the payroll expense are correct. You can also write to ensure accuracy. Correct to sahi hai, like that is the assertion, but to ensure accuracy, to ensure completeness, you can also add that over here. So this is a specific one. Okay. Another one, let's see. This one, let us see. Compare total monthly temporary employee costs, because the company has temporary employees also and permanent employees also. So what I have done is, if you see, this is an analytical procedure, comparison with the prior year and budgets, etc. I've done nothing. I've used the same general procedure, but I have included that I will be comparing the temporary employee cost. You can also write temporary and permanent employee cost, because these words are from the question. So this is how you actually make case specific procedures, like general made specific. So even if you have learned, it's not an issue until and unless you know the art of converting into specific, which is not difficult at all. You are just using the words from the question to make it case specific. Next one, let's see. Perform a proof in total of total wages and salaries, incorporating joiners and leavers, because you know that in your company, there are going to be joiners who join the company and people who leave, temporary employees, permanent employees, joiners and leavers, right? Again, using the same terminologies, same words from the question to make it more case specific. Temporary employees and annual pay increase. Compare this to the actual payroll expense in the financial statements and investigate any significant differences. So if you see, if you check out your PDF or whatever list of substantive procedures that you people already have, you will see this general procedure there. Okay, but I have turned into a specific one by using these words from the question. Simple. Next one, seventh one, also case specific. Select a sample of joiners and leavers. Agree their start or leaving date to HR department records. Recalculate their first and last pay packet to ensure it has been calculated, recorded accurately or not. So I'm just seeing that whatever amount I am giving to them, is it actually correct or not? Again, using the general procedure, making it case specific. Using joiners, leaver, HR department, payroll department, temporary employees, permanent employees from the question, because question mein hi likha tha. This was mentioned in the question itself, right? So this is how you make your general procedures to the case study. And this was a 5-marker question, at least 3 as per the case, and 2 can be the general ones. If you see in my answer, this PDF is available to all of you. You will be able to see I have written 10. 2 more case specific I've written. So technically, I have given you all 5 case specific. And you said that I am not able to write because there's not enough information. It's just how you tweak your answers. That's all. That's all that you have to know. If you see, agree a sample of employee names included in the payroll records to HR records to confirm payments are made to genuine employees to ensure accuracy. Because here, if you see, our deficiency was that probably they have fictitious employees, right? Because they're not completing the joiner form. So that is what I'm seeing, that only genuine employees are getting the payment to ensure the accuracy of the payments made to the genuine employees. That is, again, general made specific. Okay. So let me show you this in all one page. Wait. Okay. See this and let me know if in case you people have any doubts. Can as per reasonableness to management PSP. Reasonableness to management depends what the situation is, what reasonableness are you getting. It can be an SP, of course, but depends on how you are writing and what you are stating. Any doubts, guys? Any questions? Any doubts? Is section 8 doable or similar from what we have practiced? We have not practiced section A, Mahal. I'm not sure what you're referring to. When to actually use the word reasonableness. Reasonableness is whenever a company is doing something different. For example, company said that we are not going to increase our provisions even if the claims from the customers are increasing. So you're going to obtain the rationale for it to ascertain if it is reasonable from their perspective or not, to check if whatever assumptions that they have taken, is it actually reasonable or not, is it making sense or not. Reperform the calculation of statutory deduction and agree to supporting documentation on whether the correct deduction has been made for the year ended. Ensure correct. It is correct SP, but it is a general procedure. It is correct, but a general one. Okay, so your priority has to be first to write all the specific procedures into your answer. So 1, 2, 3, 3, specific, 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 and then general, general if you are remaining with any. I have written all 5 general specific ones for you people. Any doubts in this one? Shall we move to the next question? Last one. I know you people also might have gotten tired by now, but last question and then we'll end the session. Okay, chalo, let's see the last question. Okay, so this is a corporate governance deficiency question, a very, very important question. Always it comes either this or ethical threats or your quality management question comes as part of your 3 to 4 marker question. So let's start at reading the question. It says, identify and explain 2. So you only have to explain 2 corporate governance deficiencies faced by Q company and provide a recommendation to address each of the deficiencies. So they have given you a separate paragraph over here, and from this paragraph you have to identify 2 corporate governance deficiencies over here. Okay, so let's read the first paragraph. Q company is intending to list on stock market in the next year and therefore wants to ensure the company will be compliant with corporate governance principles. That's perfect. That's the best way that they can start their listing from, right? A company has been asked to review the current arrangements and identify any changes which will be needed to be made. The board of Q company comprises of 5 executive directors, a chair, and 4 independent NEDs. Okay, are we okay with this one? This composition is okay? Or is there any issue?
No, there should be equal number of NEDs and executive directors.
But the chair is there.
Yeah, but still, I think there should be equal number of NEDs and EDs, and chairman should not be in this what should we say, in this sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So, see, again, questioning you people again. Chair is also an NED, right? So, 4 plus 1 chair is 5. 5 equals to 5. So, what is the issue?
The majority should be NED excluding the chairman.
Yes. There should be a balance. NEDs should be equal to EDs, excluding the chair. Excluding the chair, that's the main thing. A lot of people, when this scenario comes, they think that because it is chair plus NEDs, so 5 equals to 5, it is okay. It is balanced. but that's not true. If you reread your text again, it says there should be a balance between executive and non-executive, and chair should be excluded from that counting. Okay, so here the deficiency is that balance is missing. Okay, let me show you the answer. The presentation again will be exactly the same as we do for the risk question and for the deficiencies question. Okay, see here. Statement from the question I've copy pasted. It is important because this is again same marking scheme here also. Half a mark for identification, half a mark for explanation, 1 mark, and 1 mark for the recommendation. Okay. There should be appropriate balance of executive and NEDs to ensure the board is making to ensure that board makes objective decisions which are in the best interest of the stakeholders, and no individual group are getting dominated amongst them. So there should be a balance. Executive should be equals to NEDs except for the chairman. Okay, so this is the problem. Unbalanced board is the problem. First deficiency. Recommendation should be that we should have recruit at least 1 new NED, because here we have already 4. So एक और कर देंगे, so 5 equals to 5 हो जाएगा. Who has relevant experience and has at least half of the board excluding the chair should consist of the independent NEDs. Okay, very simple, very easy. Let's move to the next one. Q company is promising to establish an audit committee of 3 independent NEDs. These NEDs are highly experienced in industry in which Q company operates. Before joining Q company, they had senior roles in manufacturing and marketing and sales. Okay. So is it okay, guys? Any problem over here?
At least one must be with financial experience now.
Perfect. Okay, I have missed one line. I'm sorry. We'll discuss. I'm so sorry. We'll discuss that line. Let me know for this one first. So as Shreya mentioned, the main problem over here is that at least one person of your audit committee should have the financial expertise, financial knowledge, financial statements knowledge. Because ultimately, all of your audit is based upon financial statement. If the person does not know how to read the financial statements, it will be an issue. So at least one person, my recommendation would be one person in the audit committee should have the financial expertise or financial knowledge for the same. Number should be equal, Shreya. ED is equal to NED should be there, no majority. Majority comes into your committees. This is talking about the board as a whole. Okay, this one is okay. Then the line that I missed was 2 directors are subject to re-election on a rotational basis at each annual general meeting. So what is the problem over here, guys?
All of the directors must be set to re-election annually.
All of them, and on frequent basis, not on rotational basis. Yeah, that's an issue. Correct. So 2 directors they're saying, so everybody should have the re-election, and on rotational, not on rotational basis, but on frequent basis, on an annual basis, you should be having the particular re-election. So the re-election of a director is not frequent enough, and it could mean the directors who are not performing effectively could remain in the board. At current general meeting, annually, thereafter, all directors should be subject to re-election, and then I have the answer for your financial expertise thing that we have discussed. All right.